We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. Before we begin today's episode, let's hear from this week's sponsor.
You know, almost nobody gets personal finance training in medical school or dental school. When you get out of training, you're saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt right out of the gate. So it's no wonder that physician burnout is such a problem. And that problem isn't limited to just the physician. That kind of financial stress affects your family life because it constrains your finances and it prevents you from reaching your financial goals. As a result, your marriage may be strained and stressed as well. Well, that's why I'm so excited to tell you about the Marriage and Money MD Summit coming up on November 15th through 17th. It's a free summit for healthcare professionals who want to build a stronger marriage and create a better path to building wealth. You'll hear from 21 amazing speakers over 3 days, and you'll come away with the tools and resources you need to have the happy family life and the path to financial independence that you deserve. You can sign up today by clicking the link in the podcast description. Even if you don't get a chance to attend the talks live, sign up for free anyway, and you can catch the replays for the rest of the week. Again, click the link in the podcast description to sign up for free. I can't wait to see you there.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. And today we have a very special guest. And before we begin, I want to acknowledge this week's sponsor. And as usual, we tout 4 types of freedom. The first is financial freedom, time, emotional, and location freedom. So each week I bring on guests, physicians that are doing very innovative and different things. So today we have a special guest, Dr. Ayush Gupta. And what's interesting is that we are on this Zoom chat. He's in New Orleans right now, covering the PEDS-ER in New Orleans with Hurricane Ida. So, we all live in COVID times. So without much ado, I'll bring Dr. Ayush Gupta up and we'll get started. So Ayush, so great to meet you and welcome to the show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, so you're a pediatric emergency physician and you help medical professionals reach financial freedom through house hacking and real estate investments. So last week's guest was, we talked about real estate syndicates, and this week we're going to talk about house hacking. Before we begin, just tell everybody about yourself and we'll get started.
Yeah, so I am originally from India. I did my med school over there. I moved to New York City to do residency at the PEDS from 2013 to 16, and then PEDS-EM in Michigan. Moved down to New Orleans 2 years ago, and has been here. It's been like a whirlwind of like up and down. Like COVID hit in 2020, and I'm actually calling in right now from the hospital ER. Mm-hmm. We are under COVID lockdown. I mean, we are under the Hurricane Ida lockdown. So I've been here for a couple of days and another 2 days to go before I get to go. And I think before COVID, I was just like a lot of physicians who come out of training and go ahead and buy a dream house because finally, after like years and years of struggle, you make like real salary. I was on the same path. I was looking at single family houses at that point, and then COVID hit, could not go see houses, got into a summit and got into a few seminars, and then just learned about how other physicians are changing their life by doing a lot of other things. That's how I decided about going to house hacking. I didn't even know what term that is with house hacking. It was just learning all these things. And then and now it's like fast forward 1 year. I've done a cycle of house hack, and now I'm looking to invest more into real estate. I learned a lot just to change in mindset, I would say, in the last year or so.
That's awesome. And before the show started, we were talking backstage, and you were saying how you just closed on your last deal. So that's really exciting. So a lot of the audience, they don't know what house hacking is. So give a, brief description and introduction to what it is.
Yeah, house hacking has been going on for years. It was just not coined like that.
Yeah.
Uh, in short, it's basically sharing a space with somebody and dividing the rent among yourself. So it can be done in various formats. So the most common format is you buy a house using your own finances. Suppose you can use a FHA loan, a VA loan, or even a conventional financing. And then if you buy a 4-bedroom house, you have other roommates. Suppose you're residents, you have other 3 roommates in the rooms, and then they are paying you rent, and then your mortgage is coming out of that. So basically, you coming on top in terms of you not paying rent, or you living for free, and also having all the advantages of the property, like the property appreciates, all the tax benefits, all those things. So that's a short version of house hacking. You can do it by room, you can do it by having a duplex, you can do it by having an ADU, artificial dwelling unit. There's so many ways to do it these days. What I did was I bought a fourplex, um, and a lot of times people say that as an attending, you should not be doing that. You don't want to live around the neighbors, and I was the same. Uh, but I bought a fourplex, and I got. I mean, I live on one of them. It's beautiful. It's one of the historic buildings in New Orleans, and all the 3 tenants they pay me rent, and I come out positive every month. So over the last, I haven't paid a rent, or I haven't paid a mortgage out of my pocket in over a year now.
That's awesome. There's so many creative ways of personal finance, and I actually find house hacking really fascinating because that's what I did during medical school. Is actually, my first condo that I purchased in med school. I rented out the other room and he was a med student, so it was basically, the rent was covering the mortgage, and I had to pay something like $50 a month extra, but compared to paying 1,500 or 2,000 or wherever you live per month, there's a lot of cost savings. So yeah.
Exactly. And I think we as medical professionals have so many advantages of doing it. Like you have like physician loan, doctor loan, and it goes to like residents, fellows, everybody. We're just not cool about it. I wish somebody told me about it like 8 years ago, and I would
uh,
be so far ahead than what I am right now. But
yeah.
at least we can bring this to everybody out there, like to med students, residents, like you did, and look at you right now. So financially free. I think it started with house hacking.
Yeah. And what inspired you to get into house hacking, and why is house hacking perfect for medical professionals, even if they don't have time or money to start with?
Yeah, so what got me started into house hacking again? Just listening to various podcasts and learning about it and seeing how to get your feet wet. House hacking is not the be all and end all for me, but it was a great opportunity to get into um, a one of the biggest businesses, which is real estate, and it's a safe point of entry. As physicians, we try to pay safe, especially with the money. With patients, with everything, like I'm an ER doctor, I do weird stuff in the ER, but with money, we are always like we are so tight about it. Same when we are trying to get into real estate, we think, hey, what's going to happen if we lose hundreds and thousands of dollars? House hacking was that safe starting point for me. I learned it from people around me who has done it before, and I had a mentor who was doing house hacking. Has done it like 4 or 5 times. So just learning those things, it was perfect. And I think I'm ER, I'm ADHD. What's your second question?
Oh, the one question was, for physicians, if they don't have time or money, why is because you're gonna live in the house anyway, right? So why not generate some income from it? And
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. I mean, for rest, like imagine most of the residencies is 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Most of the fellowship would be is like 1 to 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Um, you will be staying at that city for that period of time. Very rarely do you get transferred and the program shuts down.
Uh-huh.
um, it's the perfect getaway. So if you are only doing residency and not even a fellowship, and you live at a place, you are going to pay rent. If you're not buying a house, if you buy a house and you live by yourself, you will be paying mortgage. Um, you can you can actually combine that. You can like buy a house in which you can get other residents. As residents, I always had roommates. As fellow, I always had roommates. We were fine doing that. You just like divide the rent, and 5 years later, 10 years later, that house is going to appreciate. It's going to be cash flowing.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have tax benefit, amortization. You have so much advantages of that
Uh-huh.
that it is just perfect. And also medical professionals, one thing that people think about, we don't have money to start with. I thought the same thing. You can, I had a physician over here who got paid on closing from physician mortgage. Like people do it with $5,000, $10,000 to start with, but then never pay the 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000 rent that we end up paying in residency and fellowship for the next like 3 years. Your ROI in that is infinite. So, I mean, there's a lot of returns. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that that came to my mind when you were talking is, let's say you live in the house and you have your tenants paying. You're basically getting the asset. You're controlling the asset and you own the asset, and it's the mortgage is getting paid down by the tenants. So you're basically getting an asset for free. So, and then you can sell it, or you can move on and rent it out. So especially if you live in an extremely high cost of living area, this is one way to decrease your expenses. So
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that sellout can be your down payment. Whatever profit you make out of the sellout can be a down payment for your first house or your next house. And
yeah,
you just have the snowball effect after that.
yeah, exactly. The other interesting thing was, I think it was an interview from Joe Gebbia or Brian Chesky, of the CEOs of Airbnb. And because a lot of people, after 2008 crisis, they overbought properties and they couldn't, and then all of a sudden there's no jobs, and the market's tanking. So a lot of people resorted to house hacking, and they were saying that Airbnb saved them from getting evicted or losing their house. So it's one of the strategies that you can use. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, 100%. So another advantage that you have for the Airbnb thing is wherever we're doing residency, fellowship, or even we're working, that we're around a hospital generally, and you'll always have travel nursing. You'll always have medical students who are coming for rotations. You'll always have residents, and they need places to stay for short term. There you go. Your cash and cash return on that is so high. The percent is very high compared to long term.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, you have tenants turnover. So which can be automated again, which you don't have to deal with it. Um, yeah, one thing I want to tell out there is like, as everybody starting out in real estate thinks that I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and go change the toilet. I think everybody's heard that. I have never ever changed the toilet, nor will I ever do it. There are ways to, nobody expects you to do it. Your tenants respect you so much. They know that you're a physician. They respect you so much that you have an advantage. I mean, they when I was putting my units to rent out, I used to go and meet the tenants, and they used to be so nice because they think that a physician is owning the building. So or we have a lot of limiting belief, a lot of negativity, and the fact that we'll have to work on in the middle of the night while we are on call for surgery. We are on call for orthopedic, but we never have to do that.
That's awesome. So what's your number one tips for getting started for the listeners, and what's your number one mistake for listeners to take caution when starting house hacking?
Yeah, number one tip for starting house hacking is don't overthink and do it. Like a lot of times we try to read a lot more. I would say learn first, spend some time, find a coach or read a book, go online. There's books on house hacking these days. Read about it. Um, there are always residents in your residency. There's always fellows. There's always doctors around you who are doing it. So in just a different way, they just don't advertise it, or they just don't know the word house hacking, but they're doing it. Talk to them. Create a community. Um, when you have people in proximity of you, you will probably be able to take that step. Um, the biggest mistake that I did was I say this a lot, like no, I should stop saying it, but I got a little attached to the property that I wanted to buy. It was in a good area. It was fourplex. I used to walk around a lot. I got attached to it. So a lot of I think I might have overpaid a little bit, or that's what I thought. Um, and then when I think I could have got a better deal. That is always what every real estate investor thinks 5 years or 6 months or 1 year down the line. Hey, I think I overpaid for this, but I just refinanced it and I realized I actually was like I came out way ahead than what I did, yeah, in 1 year.
That's awesome. So I know you were recently on the house hacking podcast, and you have your own website. So if I know a lot of listeners are interested in house hacking as a strategy. So how would people get in contact with you to learn more about what you do and learn more about house hacking?
Yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram handle and a website. The link for both is MD House Hacking, mdhousehacking.com. Um, just give me a follow, shoot me a text. I'm always happy to connect with people, just talk about it. If I can get like one person started a week on it, and that is just feels so good. Like at the end of the day, as physicians, we're not doing it to make money. Like this is free. I don't do this for making money. It's just to create awareness that somebody did not teach me 8-10 years ago. So yeah, come like happy to talk anytime, and it can be done in any city. I have tried to review multiple cities around the country. It doesn't matter if you live in New York City or if you live in LA or Houston or New Orleans. It can be done in any place.
That's awesome. And also, I know this technique can be applied if you're even if you're renting apartment, you can just split the cost with a roommate. So there's so many different ways around the term house hacking. So yeah, I love this conversation. It was wonderful. What's your final parting words of advice for the listeners?
Yeah, I would say I'm part of a tribe called GoBundance, and we talk about like thinking alike. When you're part of a tribe, you think like that, and so we say something called proximity is power. Surround yourself with people who are doing it. If you want to get like financial independence, read books, podcasts. Surround yourself. There are residents, there are fellows, there's other doctors who want to do the same thing. So have them in proximity. You're gonna lift yourself up. Like we say, we are average of the 5 people. That is exactly the concept behind it. And doesn't mean that you're gonna leave other people behind. But if that's what your goal is, surround yourself, be proximate to those people who can help you attain your goals. And there's one more quote that I want to say, which I believe firmly. I think Mark Twain said that, but there are the 2 big days of our life is the day when we were born and the day we find our why. So find your why. You're going to have ups and downs during your investing career. Have that somewhere on your wall, on your book. You look at that and you're going to keep going forward.
That's awesome advice. So for all the listeners, all of Dr. Gupta's references and all of his links will be in the show notes. And thanks so much for this awesome time. I know a lot of the listeners will get so much benefit out of it, and they can start using these tactics and strategies right away. So thanks so much, and we'll look forward to having you on future podcasts.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Nice to have you.
Come join us at the Marriage and Money MD Summit coming up on November 15th through 17th. It's a free summit for healthcare professionals who want to build a stronger marriage and create a better path to building wealth. Click the link in the podcast description to sign up for free and come away with the tools and resources you need to have the happy family life and path to financial independence that you deserve.
I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislumdphd.com for more support. I'll see you next week.